one of my investment properties, lift the rent by $20 a week, right? Then I've got income.
Mm-hmm.
I've got money in my pocket.
Yep.
So, buying a home is probably not one of the worst investments you can make, because I can think of many other investments that are bad, right? But if you want to grow your empire, if you want to grow your portfolio, then you really are roadblocking yourself.
Don't chain yourself to that one investment.
However, right, for the listeners out there, buying a home may be all they want to do. That might be their goal, right? So not everyone's going to have the same goals as me, where you want to be a property developer, you want to have all of these businesses, you want to have a portfolio, like an endless portfolio. Like it's very rare that people actually have those goals and those dreams, right? Most people just say, you know what, and they come into this office and they say, you know what, I just want a beautiful home to live in, right? And I'm really bad with my money, and I'd rather just have a $1 million home and just force savings. I want my wife to put her pay packet in there. I want my pay packet to go into that mortgage, and we just want to live there for the next 30 years. Great, right? Great. Then that's great, because it's better to do that than it is to just rent and do nothing, right? But
have a plan.
Have a plan, right? If you're going to rent and you're going to be agile and do all of these things like Jade and I are doing, then every spare dollar you get needs to get pushed into an asset. It can't be just sitting there and going, oh, you know what, we're renting and it's okay because that's what we choose to do, and then go on a holiday, for 6 months of the year. That's not going to do anything for you,
of course,
right? You still have to sacrifice. But some people don't have that discipline. Some people need that. Okay, I've got a roof over my head, I've got my family in here, I've got to pay this mortgage, now I'm forced to put aside, $1,000 a week towards my mortgage. And some people need that, and that's all people want, right? Some people, that's enough for them. But for us, our strategy is a little bit different.
Correct.
Right? We're in a bit of a growth strategy at the moment.
I think for all of our female listeners out there, that concept that Zah just talked about is very hard to get your head around, and I have so many discussions with women all the time about how they want their dream home and they want to save up for a mortgage with their partners, and that's their great Australian dream. And
we still live in a good place, though. We love our place.
Well, exactly. So but my argument to that is, and everyone is different, and I respect everyone's personal opinions, but the fact is we get to live in the most beautiful places, and for a woman, I know how important that is, and you become emotionally detached to your home that you build with your partner or your husband, and that's really important to women, and I recognise that it's really important to me as well. But I get all of those things and all of those fulfillments with renting beautiful apartments with everything that we need.
Yeah.
So why would we sacrifice that and go into something that might not be as amazing, and be locked into it.
These days as well, depending where you buy as well. Like you're paying rent, say on a unit at the moment in a beautiful area, the mortgage repayments might even be more than what you're paying. So the investor, because they haven't purchased in the best investment area, is at a loss at the moment.
Well, they could be going backwards.
Yeah.
Now, just going off what Jade just said about all the women out there, for all the blokes out there, so I'm gonna say, for all the blokes out there, I'm gonna give you a bit of advice, right? Don't get emotionally attached to anything, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Like I've had things before, like even jewelry. I don't get attached to your car, right? Don't get emotionally attached to anything that you spend money on, right? So this is the problem with dream homes. If I built a dream home, right? Oh my God, I can just think of like, even just the granite top bench will probably cost me about $30,000, right? Because I would want it so perfect, right? And I would want it to be the best, right? Because I want it can't be like one of my investment properties. It's not a tenanted.
It's for you.
It's for me, right? I want to enjoy it, right? So
you want to eat your breakfast raw off the granite bench top,
that's
right?
That's right. So like, I'm going to be quite emotionally attached to that. That's what I'm saying. And what's going to happen is that those costs are going to blow out and I can't make money off that.
That's right.
Unless we wait 40 years, for that capital growth to occur. But then I've had to maintain that house for 40 years, right? So you've got to think of yourself as, this is a podcast about doing business.
Correct.
Right? And so if people are out there thinking, oh, but I want the dream home and, I want all of those things, then I don't know. Maybe this podcast isn't for them. Maybe their podcast would be for someone who, Better Homes and Gardens or something like that, right? Where they're more concerned about what they like and what they love rather than about making money, right? Because for the girls and guys out there, if you want to make money, don't get emotionally attached to any of your purchases.
Yep.
Always look at every single dollar that comes out of your pocket as an investment.
And think about how long you would have to work, right? For example, I saw this the other day in the book I'm reading. If you were to go out and you'd look at an expensive good, so let's say for the ladies it's an expensive handbag, and let's just call it $1,000 for now. Think about how long you have to work just to buy that bag, and then think about, is it going to be worth it? A, my time, and B, the return. I know, again, a luxury good is probably not the best example, but do you know what I'm saying?
But it's all a transaction of value, right? So everyone has different value towards different things, right? So I love nice clothes, right? So a lot of people would go, well, Zah, you spend a lot of money on clothes. You tell people to save their money all the time. Well, it's like, well, I wear nice clothes because I present myself better and I close more deals, right? I'm actually better at my job when I look better. So I spend a lot of money on myself that way in terms of physical appearance because I get a return on investment for it. Yeah. That's me. There's other people out there who don't need to spend money on clothes, jewelry, and all of those sort of things, and grooming and all of that sort of stuff, and they still do really well, right? Everybody's different, but what I'm trying to say is don't fall in love with anything except for your wife, you know what I mean, or your husband, because once you fall in love with something, man, it's going to cost you money in the long run. Now, people will be watching this going, oh, what are you talking about, Zah? This is so boring. I just want to go on holidays and I just want to enjoy myself. Then fine, go and do it. Like, it doesn't really matter, right? I'm not selling anything here. I'm just giving you my advice from my experience, right? If you want to be rich, if you want to be wealthy, you have to have this mindset. You have to think that every single dollar is an investment that you spend, right? You can't just... we all work so hard for our money. I know everybody listening here would be thinking in their heads, okay, I make X amount of dollars per week and I've got to do Y amount of work, right? And they'd be thinking, okay, what am I going to do with it? Because I want to be financially free. Now, these are the things that you have to do. You have to have that mindset shift. You can't keep thinking that money's going to keep growing on trees. Absolutely, because it's not, right? You're going to get to 40 years old, right? And the person next to you who's been saving, right? And they've been putting money away into investments that are generating income, and you're sitting next and you haven't done anything about your future, you're going to hate yourself. You're going to want to kill yourself. You're going to want to blow your brains out. So you've got to start now. And that's why, we try and tell our millennial market, our millennial sort of audience, right? That, starting young, start now.
Of course.
Start putting away, start educating yourself now. You don't even have to save money now. Just educate yourself. Listen to podcasts like this, read books, surround yourself with like-minded people, start executing on a plan.
Love it. Love it.
Love it.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up shortly, but before we go, Jade, what is your advice to people that are sitting on the fence in regards to choosing a business or buying a property, and they don't know what to do? That's why they're listening in tonight.
I'm really biased. I think obviously I'm going to choose property. I think people need to stay in their lane, and I don't know if we've spoken about that enough tonight. Become a master at your craft and just stay in your lane and be really patient. And I think one of the things that especially for women, why property is not exciting or sexy is because there's no instant gratification. There's more instant gratification over the handbag or the holiday, the big weddings, the cars, all of that kind of stuff. And I think you can eventually have all of it, but you need to build a foundation for yourself and for your family. For all the single women out there, you can do it on your own. You can just, you get the right advice and go out there and execute, and you can't go wrong with property. I think a business is fantastic, and if you've already got, I have a lot of women in my network that and men that have great businesses and really successful businesses, whether they're online, whether they're bricks and mortar. And you can have it all, but I think you just need to get the right advice and educate yourself on the best thing for you to do for your future. But I'm absolutely going to say property all the way. If you have to choose between a business and property, choose property. Property is a business. Like I said, it is your business. It's our business. We have, I don't just stop at, when trade finishes for the night and, when corporate's over for the day. Business is our, property's our life, and that's what business is. Yeah, definitely.
Can I just say, right? We're talking about property and business so much. I'm going to say, go out and get a job. Like, jobs aren't bad. Like, we live in the best country in the world. Like, I've been everywhere, like, in terms of the world, right? And I always come back to Australia and go, wow, we live in the best country in the world. And to make it in business in Australia is quite hard. I'll tell you why. Because it's actually probably better to have a job, right? Like, we have such good benefits here. And the banks love people with jobs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, self-employed people find it hard to get loans for property. Yeah. But people with jobs, with a pay-as-you-go pay slip, it's so easy. It's like a golden ticket when you go to the bank. So having a job, like, I know this podcast is about entrepreneurship and property investing and developing and all of that sort of thing, but having a good job, learning a skill or being good at something and being able to apply that to your job and earn a good wage is gold, because that means you can get into property, which is a business. You don't have to go out and start a business and spend, $250,000 on starting a business, just like I have done with all of my different things. Like, if I could turn back time, I'd actually just go out and get a job. I'd skill up, get a job, and just use that pay slip to buy more and more property. So, for you guys listening out there, don't be afraid to just keep working and being an employee, because that's great. Like, there are so many good companies to work for in Australia. The benefits are so good. The minimum award wage is so high.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Like, it literally, like, if you clean toilets in Australia, you're earning the same amount of money as a lawyer would be over in, a poor Asian country. You know what I mean? And you've got to put that into perspective and know that, okay, you don't really have it that bad. Like, our working conditions here are
fantastic.
They're great, you know what I mean? So, for people listening out there, don't overlook that.
I think another thing as well, coming up to being in property for 10 years, the property market years ago was obviously a lot different to what it is now, right? And it comes and goes in cycles and waves, and, there is no better time than now to get into property. When is there the future is not going to be a better time, that's for sure. So when else are you going to make that move? Well,
people are saying, we want to wait till property crashes and it corrects and all of that sort of thing. You might get a 5% discount. That's about it, right? But it's always going to go back up again with, jobs growth, all the development that's happening in Australia. Like, we're a young, immature market.
Property's not going down anytime soon.
No, it's not, right?
I think I saw a comment on Facebook the other day, really quickly, guys. Someone was giving someone else advice. Don't get into property right now. There's a crash coming. Just wait.
Get into Bitcoin.
Wait for 2 years. Like, get the hell into property now.
Get into Bitcoin. It may be like 50 grand in an hour.
Can't do it. Sorry, Bitcoin. Don't ask me about Bitcoin. I'm staying in my lane.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap us up for another week. We've just about done 45 minutes today, so it's been a big slog. We hope you've enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please send them through to our email, info@luxland.com.au. Don't forget to check out Jade's latest article, The Powerful Entrepreneur, on our website as well, luxland.com.au. And if you'd like to get in contact with any of us, you can do so on our social media accounts, which is Zar Azmi, Jade Azmi, and Mark Fattori. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Bye.